Hello there. This is Guru Mayor, and I'm bringing you the second in this series called A Touch of Emotional Liberation. I want to give you some short introductions to the concepts and practices of my new book, Emotional Liberation, Life Beyond Triggers and Trauma. So let me give you an overview of the principles that we're working with here. We all act a little crazy sometimes. We say, feel, and do things that are not in our best interest, that are upsetting, that really do harm to ourselves and to relationships, right? So we have these, our own little polite insanities. And it's normal, it's human nature. And these patterns are related to the fact that we've all suffered adverse experiences in our life. We can call them trauma. We've all been changed by things that have upset us, challenged us, shocked us, harmed us, right? So, and it turns out there's a connection between how we've been shocked or upset or traumatized and how we behave now. I think that's becoming pretty obvious to most people. All right, but the third concept is that we are built for self-healing, to be able to heal from both traumas and things that have upset us, and also to escape emotional behavioral patterns, right? Okay, so we all get upset. We've all been harmed in the past. They're connected, our past and our current. And we're built for self-healing. Fourth concept is that emotions are those same emotions that come up and make you raging or frozen or paralyzed or shamed. Those emotions are part of our natural healing process. So we're doing a training in self-therapy that we're evolved with the equipment to heal ourselves and to understand what's going on and to release trauma and old patterns. Okay, so that's the concept we'll be working with here. To review, if you saw the first class, these are short 15, 20-minute classes with some information and a practice to help us do this thing that I call self-therapy, okay? So to review the first one, and it's there on my YouTube channel, also in the archives of Facebook. So I asked you to look at a reactive pattern, and we put it into a formula XYZ, where X is the trigger, Y is the emotion that comes up when you're triggered, and Z is the reaction. So I'm just going to give you a few examples that people sent in since then. And you want to identify one of your patterns and formulate it into a simple sentence of this format, okay? So when my mother or anyone else criticizes me, I become furious and can't speak for days. When my partner raises his voice, I get scared and quit talking to him for 2 or 3 days, right? When I think of the way my father treated me, I feel sad and I can't get out of bed, okay? So in each of these, you've got the thing that initiates or reanimates the feeling, and the second part is this feeling or emotion, and the third part then is what I do in response to that, my reaction. Okay, so if you want to play along, I hope you will. This is not just for entertainment purposes, but for personal growth and healing, right? Okay, so what we're going to do today is then expand that, look at your emotionally reactive pattern under a bit of a microscope. In sports, when they replay the video because they're not quite sure what happened, and they want to get a clear call on the thing, they replay it and in slow motion so you can see each step of what happened. In a criminal investigation or a trial, they break it down into, well, first this happened and then that, and that's why we can solve the case. All right? Right. Okay. So what I'm going to ask you to do today is look at more than just the XYZ. So want to see much more clearly what the actual trigger is. You know, when someone's mean to you, when somebody's mean to me, I get upset. Got to be more specific. Do they raise their voice? Do they say mean things? Do they curse? Do they look threatening? So we want to look under the microscope and break that down. So someone's asked, the 3HO Foundation Facebook page right here should have the archives, and you can find my YouTube channel, Guru Mayer, Senses of the Soul, something like that. Sorry, I'll post it later. Now, so we're going to do now a vigorous practice. Now, why do we do vigorous practices? Why do we do meditative practices? It's well known now in the cutting edge of trauma healing that when we're traumatized and when we then reanimate that trauma in a reactive pattern, you may or may not yet see that connection, but we'll get to that in later classes. It is multidimensional in your body. In other words, you remember things, you have memories, but you also have feelings that you have now and you had then. Your physiology, your nervous system, your body, your muscles, your nerves register. You might have tightened up back when you were 6, when that bad thing happened, and you never really quite released. So the more we can get the whole body involved in our healing, because little parts of your trauma and little pieces of your behavioral patterns are lodged in different aspects of your body-mind spirit. So we're going to do something kind of fun today. It'll be about 11 minutes total, and then I'll guide you through this slow motion replay of your pattern. So do you have one to work with? Maybe it only happens occasionally, maybe it happens every week, every day. That's the thing about a pattern. When it repeats, you can see it more clearly. Maybe that's why it repeats. Nature gives you many chances to see this thing so you can heal it. Okay. So here's what we're going to do today, folks. A simple Kriya where it's very active. So your hands are here, and then your elbows and upper arm slap against the ribs on the side. Can you see that? So, and we're going to do it rhythmically. Let me just show you first, and then we'll get started. And I'm exhaling each time I hit. You can see I've got a nice, energizing, vigorous hit here on the side ribs, lower ribs, okay? Now, there's 2 ways to breathe. One is in and out, in, out. Out as you exhale. And if you want to go faster, we could call that a slow breath of fire. Now, if the other way to breathe is a full breath of fire, which means I would inhale up and exhale down. So I'll let you experiment with those 2 rhythms, and you can try and see which one works for you, all right? So I'm going to start the clock, and we're going to do a few minutes, take a break, and a few more minutes, and take a break. And I'll be giving you some prompts to look at your pattern in between. But first, we'll just get started. So you ready? All right, open hands, and I'm going to start out with a double time breath, which is closer to a breath of fire. Now with all of these exercises, these kriyas, you get to regulate yourself. You know, I'm just giving you the recipe, and you can modify. You know, maybe you've got a shoulder problem, maybe you're in a bad mood and you're gonna do it really vigorously, or you're feeling intuitively that you need to do it kind of lightly today, right? That's the beauty of individual modifications, right? Once you get going, just close your eyes. Now, traditionally, this was done with an Ashtang mantra, a rhythm of 8 beats, so you can do it with some spiritual music, some uplifting music. And if you're familiar with Ashtang mantras, you can be playing it, but you're not going to be chanting, because you're going to be breathing. Okay, so that's about a minute, and I want you to just get energized here. The traditional teaching on this is that there are meridians in these ribs, these side lower ribs, that are connected to your prana, your energy, your reserve energy. And one reason we want to stimulate that today is that we're going to be digging into seeing things that we'd rather not see or admit to, right? My crazies, my upsets. So remember to approach these things with curiosity, right? Like a scientist, a self-awareing scientist, right? And with compassion. Right? You don't want to get all judgmental and feel bad about your crazies. We're humans and we do these things, but the more we can see them, talk about them, understand them, then we can heal ourselves, right? All right. Remember, you may be doing this faster than me, with a half-time breath. Now, we're all different and every day is different, but my intention is to get you energized, to stimulate energy and start feeling, that might start with feeling irritated and bothered, right? Like, what is all this? Well, that's energy moving, Anger is some pretty strong energy. So whatever you're feeling, just keep going, breathe, be with yourself. And in 30 seconds, we're going to sit calmly and still. Okay, inhale with the arms by the shoulder, by the ribs. Just hold yourself nice and firm. Hold the breath. After all that movement, there will be sort of a dizzy but calming stillness. Now exhale, relax your hands down. Just release the tension in your hands. Sit still and quiet. Let the mind be still. Let your vision be clear. Just simply be in a state of just everything's clear, everything's okay. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing stirred up. Now from that place, are you willing to look at, like a movie? You know, we like to go to movies where there's drama and it gets us excited. So can you just see your pattern? Play the video in slow motion. There you go. Can you see it? And you are, there it is. You're fine at first, right? Everything's fine. And then the trigger happens. So look microscopically at the trigger. What is said, what is done, what is heard. Break it down into the elements, the audio-visual elements, the tactile, the sensory elements. That's what has activated you. Now move on into how do you start feeling, right? This may not go slowly for you. It may just cascade as it does in real time, but we want to see if you can just see, all right, there's that feeling. We're going to work on naming the feeling and working with the purpose of the feeling, but for today, just let yourself feel it. And if you can name one or more of those emotions, great. Now start watching your reaction without judgment, shame, guilt, or penance. Just see what you do. Okay? And it's innocent. It's human behavior. Now, what happens next? What are the consequences? What is the other person, if there's another person involved? How does it play out over the next minutes, hours, or days? Consequences, and for that matter, how, if this pattern's been going on a long time, how has it been gaining consequences or building effects and long-term effects? Now, inhale deeply, and let's resume the exercise. 3 more minutes. Let's go. Again, we're giving a physiological energy to support this mental emotional process, right? So if reviewing that, you likely felt it again. That's actually the purpose. Review the pattern and feel the emotions fresh, because remember, the emotions are rising to help you, and we're going to learn how they can help you. Okay? So we've got to allow them to be felt by us. We've got to get comfortable, build a relationship with the emotions. So, but that may be upsetting, especially at first. So what we're going to do is we go back and build some resilient energy, some power, right? So now forget about that pattern and just be here with your breath. And let's re-energize. Build your power, build your confidence. Rebuild your nervous system. Today we're doing this practice, 3 minutes a rest, 3 minutes a rest. The full exercise, if you want to practice it on your own, 5 minutes, 2 minute rest, 6 minutes, 2 minute rest. So you've got about 15 minutes there total. We're just doing a slightly shortened version. Do encourage you to take these. One way to do this series with me is to practice with me, and then for a week do this practice on your own or again with the video, and get the cumulative effect, right? And the cumulative learning of working with your pattern. There we go. Does it make you mad? Does it make you want to sing? I've been doing these practices a long time. I've done, still do them, but cleared a lot of garbage. It takes time, to accumulate garbage. It takes a little time to take it out and dispose of it, right? Burn it, bury it. So, give yourself some time to practice. Build your resilience. This makes me want to just shout and sing in a happy way, So if you're not there, I understand, but there's no right response. There's your response, and that's the right one. So if you're miserable today, I'm inviting you to be with the misery, because there are answers there. There's healing. Our system is brilliantly coordinated to know and do what we need. All right, last little bit here. And squeeze. All right, inhale deeply, squeeze the elbows against the ribs, tighten your body, especially the lower core, the root lock. Hold. Now this is the moment where you just are strong and you prevail over the past, over your crazies, right? You can't always prevail. A few more seconds. But there are moments you can learn to prevail. And exhale. Now relax again. Relax again. Close your eyes now. The calm after the storm. Let your body settle down. Let your mind be blank. Just peaceful. Receptive, not churning. Enjoy the peace. You created it, you earned it. Now, at the risk of disturbing your peace, I want you to use it to clearly see your pattern again. This time, there it is, it's becoming familiar to you. And the next time it happens in real time, you're going to go like, oh, you're going to be more aware at that time. So there's peace, and then the trigger, and then the feelings, and then your reactions. Now, back up a little bit. What goes through your mind when you're triggered, when you're in your pattern? What are the thoughts? Oh, this has happened. I'm not going to even suggest to give you examples. I want you to listen to what goes through your head. Chances are it repeats in the same tone and genre and exact words every time. Now, these thoughts are really important because your mind is what's holding the memory and responding in the same way. Okay, there's thoughts. So now we see these pieces, the triggers, emotion, the thoughts, the reactions. As you review it, does it start having a little less power over you? Do you begin to feel less embarrassed about it or upset about it? Don't add a layer of complication that you now judge yourself. Just be with the pure, innocent, it's innocent behavior. Just like a child gets upset because it doesn't like what's happening, wants something else to be happening. We all do. We're big, grown-up, innocent kids having our reactions. So my goal in these first couple of classes is to get you to see this and take some of the charge out of it. But there's going to be another thing that'll happen, and that is, as I said, when this happens next time, your mind is going to be, part of your mind's going to go, during or soon after, you go like, oh, there it is again. So it's like, if there's something in the forest that you're scared of, and but you start seeing it and understanding how it works and feeds and when it hunts, you'll start gaining your power. The power balance starts shifting, like, my pattern, there's nothing I can do about it. I get so upset. And then you're shifting that balance of power to where you will gain control of it and yourself. So that's our class for today, a touch of emotional liberation. And you can go to emotional-liberation.com to pre-order the book or the full course that'll go along with it. And I hope to see you again in the rest of this 8-class series. This was class number 2. So thanks very much, and to your mental, emotional health, be well.